Yeah.
All right, Chandler, just kind of take us through what went into this decision, how long you've been thinking about it, and what kind of factors made you ultimately decide to put your name in.
Well, you know, what forced, well, not forced, but what gave me the idea is just the new rule, you know, and the opportunity. That was something that, you know, after the season, because of course my main thing was just to win as many games as possible. I wasn't even focused on the off season, but yeah, the new rule. I mean, the huge opportunity it gives guys in my position to, you know, test the waters, as they say, and, you know, kind of go and try to get a high-level NBA workout with some teams, and then get that feedback on, you know, what they think of you and kind of your development and stuff like that. And then from then on, you get to make a decision what you want, what you think is best. But just the new rule change and that opportunity to do that, I mean, that's right there in itself, I believe, is, you know, in the best position for me.
How curious are you to get in some 5-on-5 with some guys from Kentucky and Duke and whatever, and kind of see where you stand against some of the perceived, you know, draft picks and things like that? Well,
I mean, as a competitor, that's, you know, I'm licking my chops for that opportunity. You know, kind of with, you know, where we are, sometimes you don't get a schedule play against guys like that maybe in your college career, you know, unless you're, you know, in that tournament. But other than that, it's just, you know, an opportunity for you to kind of evaluate yourself against, you know, some of the best players in the country. And as a competitor, like I said, that's just something that, you know, just, I mean, a huge opportunity for me to be able to do, you know, without having made my mind up about what I want to do for the future, you know, still having that choice to come back to school or do whatever. So, yeah, that opportunity is huge, and for me to evaluate myself in front of guys, you know, high-level guys.
What is it like to be at this point when you consider, you know, 10 months ago, I would assume that you wouldn't even have the opportunity to, you know, test out the new rule or whatever, but what does it mean to be in this situation considering how far you've come in the last 10 months?
Yeah, I mean, it feels cool, you know, it's such a, you know, I'm never going to say that I didn't expect to be in this position, because, you know, I always believed that with my abilities that I could just keep continuing to get better. Now with where I am right now and everything and how things went last season, you know, it's cool to see, you know, that development and that stuff pay off, to kind of have this opportunity to do this. You know, some guys who are in my position, you know, don't even have the chance to maybe put your name out there or get a workout. So it's definitely, you know, something I don't take for granted. You know, to be in this position, to be able to try out the new rule, it's definitely really cool.
You know, there's just, you know, we've seen guys go through this process before, and I guess, how do you stay focused? How do you kind of narrow what you want to hear and what you want to take from this? Because, you know, there can be outside influences that, whether it be good advice, bad advice, I don't know, they can kind of change maybe your goals, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, the main thing for me is, you know, I just want to become the best player I can be, you know. It's not going to happen overnight, and I believe it's going to be a process. So my focus is just continuing on getting better and doing things that are going to put me in the position, you know, to in the future be picked for you know, NBA draft. And, you know, me doing some stuff right now, it's kind of hard to, you know, completely tune out all the voices, because they're going to come, you know. But you know, I can talk to some guys that went through it, you know, like James. I was on FaceTime with him yesterday. He was giving me some advice on just things, and just stay true to yourself and what you want to do. But also a big thing about it is trust. You know, it comes down to the people you trust, and, you know, there's guys in this locker room that I trust day in and day out. The coaches I trust tremendously. So, you know, when I don't always know what to think or what to listen to, you know, that trust that I instilled in my coaches and my parents will give me, you know, the best advice, I believe, for my future. So it's always, their voices are always going to be louder than anything else I hear.
We talked a lot about your development, you know, all through the season and how did this happen. But you look at your freshman year, 3 points a game. Last year, I think you averaged 5 shot attempts a game. What clicked for you? What changed? When was there a point where you really realized you had this in you, and how do you kind of really explain the jump you took?
Well, it's, you know, like I kind of said, I've always believed that I can be a really good college basketball player. You know, and happening the way that it did kind of shocked me at times. You know, I can't kind of, you know, lie about that. But it was just really the opportunity came, some guys left, and just my role evolved into kind of being the guy with the basketball in my hands the majority of the time. And when you have that trust from your coaches to do that, you have to, you know, not make them look dumb and continue to work and show, you know, the people and everyone else watching that they made the right decision to have the ball in my hands, you know. And that's something that I just wanted to do, was to just continue to be better. If I'm going to have that opportunity to have the basketball, you know, I'm going to want to show everyone what I'm capable of. And with that opportunity allowed me to, showcase some of my skills and how I play basketball. And that's what I feel like allowed me to kind of take that jump.
You've got a little more than a month to figure out what you ultimately want to do. I think it's May 24th is what the deadline is. What would it take you to leave BSU? And do you have any sort of expectations what you want to hear from scouts and whatnot? I mean, what would it take for you to leave?
Well, I'm pretty confident, in the player I think I am right now and the player I think I can still become. And right now the biggest thing is just to, like I said, just continue to keep getting better. Like you said, I have this month or whatever, however many weeks, to really prepare and then really evaluate myself with these guys, and try to get the most out of it that I can. As for what it's going to take, I haven't really thought about it a lot. It's going to, all depend on, kind of what some of these guys say, what I hear from, but ultimately it falls back on, the confidence I have in myself and my abilities right now at this moment. Because, that's what they're evaluating you on, is what you've done. So, yeah, I've got to stay confident in that, but then on the other hand, trust my coaches and what I hear from them. Because, it's a tough situation. You could hear some things, that will sound great. And then, unfortunately, when the time comes, that may not happen, or, they were just saying that, and then who knows, there's another guy that pops up in your spot. So it's just all based on just me knowing where I'm at right now and how much better I can get.
And I know you go into this pretty focused, but I mean, are you going to take a moment to soak this in a little bit? I mean, 8-year-old Chandler Hutchison would probably think, that some of the workouts you will go through is pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I mean, it really kind of hit for the first time, once that kind of the story came out and on Twitter and seeing that kind of get out there and people kind of starting to talk about it. Then it really kind of hit me that, I'm just one step closer to, achieving my goal. And just to, like I say, just to be able to have this opportunity to work out with teams, and being a junior, not even, maybe not the end of the line, still have the opportunity to continue to get better and come back for a senior year. Just that openness and just where I'm at right now in my career, I mean, it's just a blessing. And to see this, it's a dream come true, but, just not being satisfied at the same time and just continuing to get better.
Is it a little complicated when you do leave the door open to return to college from maybe a compliance standpoint as well? I mean, how much do you have to kind of make sure you follow all those guidelines so you don't lose your amateurism? Oh,
that's maybe the most important thing, because you do one thing where you're not sure of the rules maybe, and then it's not up to my decision, it's the decision of, how serious it is or whatever, and, they kind of put that upon me. So for me to be able to completely control what I can control, being aware of those rules and kind of those things are, super important. And I sat down with our compliance and had that talk and got some stuff and information, made sure my parents know on their end, because it's important for them too to understand that. And that's something that I wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page. It can be hard sometimes when I'm here and they're at home, dealing with that. They're getting phone calls, they're not sure what to say, and just all that situation. But that comes with it, and it's exciting for them, it's exciting for me, to be in this position. So I'm just going to work on continuing to learn the rules and know what I can and can't do.
Yeah, I know you guys got another commitment today from a big guy. I mean, You look at the team you just saw out there practicing. I mean, if you do come back, how good do you guys think you can be next year?
I mean, I feel like we have the most upside maybe in the school's history ever. And that's definitely something that goes heavily into consideration when, looking towards the team I'm going to have and the guys that I can play around, to ultimately, make the team look better, kind of maybe make me look better in some situations just down the stretch. And, that's something I do consider. But, I mean, guys just getting better, it makes me so excited to see their growth and everything and where we can be. That commitment for us is huge, We tried really hard for these guys coming up these couple weeks to get them out here to maximize, our potential as a team. But, it's just going to take hard work and seeing them grow out there and keep benefiting from their hard work. It's good to see.
We know that Phil's helped you from a developmental standpoint, but with his connections to the league, I mean, how much has he helped you throughout this process? How beneficial is it to have him on your side?
Oh, it's huge. I always think to myself, if I would even know what to do, without him helping me through the ropes and kind of some of the guys and on what to expect, because I mean, he's seen it all. He knows, he's evaluated guys and seen and knows what it takes, to be a good player in the next, that next step for me, which is in the NBA. So, his opinion it goes straight to the heart, and I always trust him in what he has to say. because I've done nothing but trust him, and it's got me talking to you guys about potential NBA drafts. So I'm going to continue to trust him, and just keep working and getting better with him.
He talked about Phil just now. I talked to Leon a couple days ago, and you have his full support. What does it mean to have the support of the coaching staff as you go through really what's one of the biggest decisions you're ever going to have to make?
Man, I mean, I just think of, some places where it might not be like that. There might be some tension through the players and coaches, and that might, lead someone to making a decision they don't ultimately want to make. But when you eliminate that and me having to do that, when we can all be on the same boat, it just makes this thing so much easier. It makes the process go so much smoother. And having his support no matter what is something, I always cherish as him. He's been behind me no matter what. Every time the ball's in my hands, that's him allowing me to do that. So, him having me in my corner along with all the other coaches, it's huge. It's a huge advantage for me, and I'm always going to trust them and listen to what they have to say.
I guess for one final one for me is what does it say about Boise State as a program? This is back-to-back years where they've had a guy put their name in the draft early, and then you said you spoke with James. What did he say to you?
His message was just to, like you kind of said, to enjoy this, because he kind of feels like maybe he went too quick with it and didn't really get to just soak it in and make the decision rightfully for himself. He kind of felt pressure in some cases, and he just told me to, always trust your gut, always trust your parents and the people that you trust the most. Believe in what they have to say for you, and if you believe that they have their best interest, always listen to them. And he just told me to ultimately make the decision that I feel is best for me. And he helped me learn through some of the things he feels like he could have done better, and where he thinks I could be as a player, in the future, and continuing to develop and stuff